Call the meeting to order. Start with roll call.
Okay, Mayor Menning.
Here.
Kill.
Here.
Ford.
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
And Brenneman, may be absent with notice, and Monahan will be late.
Alright. Moving on to the next item is additions to the agenda. Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda as written.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Alright, now we'll look for an approval of the previous meeting's minutes from 5/2/2017.
So moved.
Second. Okay, discussion.
Actually,
Go ahead.
I might rescind that everything here. My bad.
Okay, who else, okay.
I'll second.
I move.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, discussion.
Everyone wants to know what happened.
Yeah. We don't-
Alright.
We don't have four here, do we? No backside or?
You can still vote for it.
I'll just
You still
vote.
can.
Yeah.
Parliamentary says you could vote, you could even make the motion.
All
Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next up, looking for a motion to approve the bills submitted for payment.
right. So moved.
Second.
Discussion. I had one on there, and
Yep.
we could maybe talk about this during your report, but I was wondering, I noticed that two of the things that you have in your letter were reimbursements. One of them was reimbursement Jesse Feinberg, yep,
Yep.
he's got that, he was gone to that conference.
Yep.
It's kind of a practice. The other one was reimbursement for Rhonda for new printer.
Her printer died 2 days before we were supposed to print the water bills. And so we had to send her to Sioux Falls to find a new printer, and she doesn't have a city credit card or anything like that, so, we basically are paying her back this way. She just paid for it out of her own pocket.
Okay, okay.
We didn't have enough in petty cash
No.
either.
Wasn't enough, I was wondering about petty cash.
There wasn't
If that was
enough
an
in petty
option.
cash for that large of an item, so.
Typically, if it wasn't that urgent, like it wasn't something that was needed right
Then we
away
would have
that
just
day.
ordered it or something.
We would have just ordered it and
Done
done
it
it
that way, okay. Alright. I
There
just
were 2
didn't
days
wanna put
before water
somebody in.
bills, and the copier won't take the paper, so we needed a new printer.
It's something to happen right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's what happened with that one.
and I don't remember, not to belabor that any longer, but does their new, service provider, for IT things, does that cover anything printer
Yep.
related?
We,
It does.
we had them remote in, and they tried to correct the problem, and they couldn't.
Sure, but they don't supply the equipment, so they don't necessarily just, okay.
We tried to work with the printer that was deemed dead, before we tossed it, but it basically, yeah, there was nothing to do with it, and it was really old.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Sounds good. Any other discussion? Okay. Hearing none. Call vote. Jones?
Yes.
And Nelson?
Yes.
And Horn?
Yes.
And Keel?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, I think what we will do is we are at 7:05. I think I'll move down to the ordinances, resolutions, and applications and hearings. And we'll come back up to oath of office once Mark is here. So, we have a 7:05 hearing, or at 7:06, for malt beverage license renewals.
Individual?
You can do them individually, or if you wanna do them all at once, unless you have concerns about any of them, then you can do them individually. Basically, this is to renew though the malt beverage licenses, not the liquor licenses. Those are done from January to December that year. All of them that have applied to renew their license, as far as I know, have not had any violations.
Gentlemen, you have a preference?
I'd say all at once.
Make a motion to approve the malt beverage license renewals for said businesses listed.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none? Okay, Nelson,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Keel,
Yes.
and Jones.
Yes.
Alright. Alright, we'll move to special event application. We got Jamboree Committee for June 14th through 18th. A couple different things in there. Don't think it's much different than what we've seen in years past. Nothing I can see in there anyway.
Someone asked me,
Applying for alcoholic beverages in town property. Like in years past.
I didn't know the answer. What was the reason that the parade's going the opposite direction this year?
So basically,
That's why I got the answer, because I had no idea.
the reason why we turned it around is so that you can actually end at the park. We have some groups that actually go through the parade first, then they have to come back around to try to get back into the park and do something. So instead of having to go from the elevator and try to hustle all the way back to the park and be there on time, now we're just ending it there so that it's quicker.
Makes sense. Okay.
Any other questions?
I make a motion to approve the special event application, Jamboree Committee for the June 14th through the 18th. And I would like to recommend we waive the application fee.
Second.
Discussion.
Is this for the Jamboree Committee, the beer license, or is that, the firemen are going separate, right?
That one's separate.
Nobody is selling anything on the Jamboree Committee. This is just asking for people to be able to consume alcohol, like on the sidewalks and
Oh,
the
okay.
streets and that, and in the
So I
park.
thought last year they sold down there.
The committee itself
The
sell?
committee itself didn't, so we have organizations, you'll see like later on, as it gets closer, you'll see probably the sports complex.
Right.
fire
Yeah, that's on the
department.
next meeting.
They'll-
Oh, okay,
Because they
okay.
turn in the forms, but they have to be published and printed out
Okay.
before they can actually go in front of you.
Okay.
so. But we are not, the committee itself are not.
Okay.
More discussion? Not, call the vote. Jones,
Yes.
Keel,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
and Nelson.
Yes.
We are at 7:09, so we're gonna jump down a little bit more. We're gonna go down to second reading and approval of ordinance 643, amend off-street parking regulations. Second reading, no changes. From the first,
I make a motion to approve ordinance 643, amend off-street parking regulations as written.
Second.
any discussion? None? Horn,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Keel,
Yes.
and Jones.
Yes.
Okay. All around that, we'll jump to second reading and approval of ordinance number 644, the planning and zoning compensation changes. Also no changes there.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 644, planning and zoning compensation as written.
Second.
What are your thoughts there, Tony, on this? Cool. Just curious.
Better than nothing.
None of us do it for money, but the extra is fine.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we got a motion and a second. More discussion, go Jones,
Yes.
Keel,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
and Horn.
Yes.
All right, now we'll go to our 7:10 hearing, special permit for the fire department, June 17th and 18th. Two separate applications, two separate locations, all that kind of thing, right? They're looking for, they would request to have the application fee waived on both of them. Probably need to do them separate.
Yeah, I would do them separate since they're two separate
Two
event
separate
days. Yeah.
Days, locations, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve application for special events permit and use of alcoholic beverages in public areas. for the event address of Main Avenue and First Street for the Hartford Area Fire and Rescue, and recommend waiving fee.
Second.
Any discussion? None? Keel?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
And Jones?
Yes. I make a motion that we approve the application for a special event permit for use of alcoholic beverage in the public area for the tractor pull area by the city park along Railroad and waive the fee. On June 18th, excuse me.
Sorry, who said that?
I will second that.
Discussion? None? Jones?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
And Nelson?
Yes.
Alright. We'll keep moving along. We'll go to reports.
Reports?
Yeah, let's go to reports. So Stockwell couldn't be here, Mitch couldn't be here tonight, John couldn't be here tonight. Didn't seem like there was anything major to cover there. We may have extra questions for Craig during his report. Is there anything in Stockwell's that we would like to discuss in the report that was in our packet?
The only question I have is the force account for sports complex cost estimates. What would that be for?
Dean Muntz and David requested, there was a list of, they wanted basically a kind of a list of cost estimates for, what would cost electricity be out there? What would it be for the sewer to run out there? What would it be to put it to building? What would it be for the parking lot? Just kind of all the kind of individual infrastructure things needed. So I asked Mitch what that would cost to put it together. We have most of the figures, so he told me to be under $1,000. They have that in their account, so I told him go ahead and, and it's just approximate estimates and he'll base it off of previous months, but it would give us kind of a rundown. One of the other things on their items was what would a full ball field entail. So I guess that would give us an idea of what kind of the individual lighting, what would that be in there. And so Stockwell said they put that together for us. Like I said, they have funds in there.
So that cost will come out of the sports complex?
Yes, we'll pay it out of the.
They just did that for us in August of last year, didn't they?
Well, they did some of it, but not,
I think we talked about it, Travis. I don't know.
what irrigation would be, it did have a cost.
I don't know that we ever got, I know we had that, when I read that, that's what I thought. We had that discussion, but I don't know that we ever got any figure.
I've got it.
You got
Like I
it?
said, I think we got it. Like I said, a lot of the cost figures we have already because of previous, especially when we did the ball field too, so it's just kind of updating those.
No.
So, so it wasn't gonna be a whole lot of time and effort he said to put into it, it's taking what we've done previously, kind of updating them, and then trying to figure out what the new items that they asked for would be.
Just sometimes feel like that's you're always ripping the scab off of that thing. Just kind of bleed you. Just bleed you a little bit. That was a pile of stuff that got off. Not that I don't think it's needed, I just, man, we just seemed like we just did that in August.
Yeah, like I said, there's some things on there we have figures for, and they just need updating.
Sure,
kind of current
okay.
ones and.
Fair enough, and if it comes out of the sports complex committee,
Yeah,
so that.
look it out. Look it out there.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move off of city engineer report and we'll move to public works superintendent report. Craig.
I'll make this short and sweet too. Basically working on the gravel roads. It's supposed to rain tomorrow pretty good, so we'll be shaping them up again. And then after it dries, we'll start bringing the sides in to reclaim some of that gravel that blade off in the wintertime. Mag water, we are planning on doing it probably the end of the month, first part of June. We're just gonna kind of watch the weather, and I've already talked to Jim with Bumblebee, and he said just we'll watch weather. When we think we're ready to go, we'll get it going, so.
Got to stop there. Refresh my memory, sorry, Meg Ward. I know Teresa's heard this for 5.5 years. But if memory serves me, which it usually doesn't, when we discussed mag water at budget time and stuff like that, I think even earlier in the year, wasn't there a point where you said that you might try to get 2 applications down in specific areas?
We wouldn't have enough budget money to do 2 applications on all the gravel
All of
roads,
them, right?
but we are typically under our budget for it, so we would have some available in the fall. And depending on what the fall turns out like, if it's a real dry fall, I mean, we might have to look at doing some of the areas like on Vandemark or over on Railroad. We wouldn't have to worry about anything on Mickelson, so that's gonna be tore up anyway.
Right.
So I mean, there'll be a few spots with higher traffic and a little bit higher speeds, I might wanna just shoot another application down. And Jim with Bumblebee said that anytime we wanna shoot an area, he'd come over and do it, so.
There's no mobilization
No,
yet?
no, he just charged us per gallon, is all he ever charged us.
Okay, and so is it too early to say, I mean, do I dare?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, all right. I'll just say it's possibly in the hopper, and we'll do the best we can.
Yep, we're just gonna watch the way the weather's gonna be and see if it's needed or not.
Okay, yeah, maybe it'll be like last year. Okay, so, all right, thank you.
Otherwise, sweeping streets, the backhoe is going to be in at the end of this week. At that point, then we'll get the JCB ready. We're basically gonna have a part-time guys detail it and get it ready to sell, so we'll have that ready to go. We did get a bunch of mosquito larvicide out, which we throw out every spring. Just try to control the mosquitoes as much as we can without every spray.
Did the fogger go off last night? Thought I heard it.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Jess is pretty good at watching it, just goes out and does it, so that's, I didn't know that, so. Yeah, it was all last night. Colton Road project, like I said, as everybody knows, that's getting started again, so if there's any complaints, they give people in town, let me, give me their name or whatever, or Teresa, and then we'll forward it to where it needs to go, so. Water and sewer, took pH samples today, and our pH is way too high to even think about discharging, so we'll just keep monitoring it and see where we're at. Park and pool, trying to keep up with the parks. We didn't get sprayed yet because the way the weather's been, it's either been raining or windy, and heck, with that spray, it does drift, and I don't want to be killing little, especially trees when they're just starting to bud out and stuff like that, so if we get some time yet, we'll still get some spraying done and try to keep ahead of them. Chemical buildings coming along well. We did get the pool acid washed, and it was filled yesterday and topped off today. We got the pump going on that. We got the parts in for vent out the heaters. We'll get those in tomorrow, hopefully, and fire up the heaters. And pool should be ready to go. The only thing is with zero entry pool, the features are not going to get shipped until Monday. So they're hoping that we'll have them by the 24th. Depending on how unlevel the concrete is around that they go into, they'll be hopefully within a week we'll have them completely in, but if we get a chance to get one in that before they open, we'll certainly try to get one in, so. And we did do the 1-year inspection on the zero entry pool. There is some issues that, we're gonna do some temporary fixes on them this summer, just to get by this week here, and then they're gonna tear some of the stuff apart and redo it next fall after the pool shuts down, because we don't want to have it shut down for 3 weeks right off the bat, so we're just going to do some temporary fixes on it, get it addressed. So.
Sure.
Public buildings, I have nothing new for that, so anybody got any questions for me?
That water feature that's coming in on the 24th, then maybe you just said this when you said you're not ready to open up the zero entry until you get everything done. Are you just gonna?
We're going to open up the zero entry.
Okay.
That'll be ready to go on that day, and then we'll just we'll work on the features like in the mornings and stuff like that, and just slowly get them put in. So, so we'll work around the things best we can. It took so long to get that stuff in, and I finally got a call back from the production today and told me that they're shipping on Monday. So,
Just one comment, street sweeping. Do we ever do Highway 38?
we have in the past, just to clean up a few areas. That's one thing I'd like to talk to the state about. Some towns actually get paid from DOT when they sweep the roads. We're at that population where they might assume that's our position to do it. with the DOT, they go by populations of town, depending on what they take care of. Once, at our size right now, we're supposed to take care of drainage issues and stuff like that, or any curb that gets busted. They'll still plow the roads in the wintertime, they still take care of their own signage. Once we get over 4,500 people, then they pretty much assume that the cities can have responsibility on them roads. So we're right at that borderline of what we do and what we don't do with it.
Just an area I noticed, looks like it, especially maybe before Jamboree days.
I will, I'll give Travis with DOT a call and just see if that's something that they're gonna have done, or if they want us to do it, if they're willing to reimburse us for times.
This could be another agenda item, but, I don't know, we kind of treated a dead tree to the southwest of the amphitheater. Do you guys have a game plan of getting that thing out, or, and it's up to this council too, because I'm sure there's probably a city issue involved with the city land. This group, Turkey Federation, does wood, cuts down trees as a fundraiser, okay?
I think I'd be worried about liability.
Yeah, there'd be a liability thing without doubt.
We'll get it either, if we can't take it down ourselves, we'll have to have it hired and have to take it down.
Okay.
But I mean, are they looking at collecting the wood to split to sell?
Sell, yeah.
So, I mean, once we have it down and cut up and that stuff, we could probably either have it available for them to pick up.
Give me a buzz.
So, we can certainly, yep. Anything else?
Thank you, Greg. Right, and we will stick with reports, and then Councilman Monahan, we skipped over oath of office, we'll come back to that after reports. So, go to City Finance Officer report with Audra.
All right, so in your report, I just had a listing of comparisons from 2016 to 17 in the revenue through April at the top there, as well as committee funds were provided. And then I also highlighted a few of the abnormal bills that were in your packet this time for the bill report. And then I also included a calendar of events. This week, I noticed I didn't put any notes in there myself. This week I'm working on getting the final stuff from all of our part-time people, all their paperwork, and getting the pool ready and everything like that. And then also the auditors will be here this week, so that's what was keeping me busy this week. So, any questions?
I don't think so.
I like the new, or, I don't know, I like the fact that our total cash and our general fund are up over 2016, pretty substantially. Did I read that right?
Oh, the total cash? Yeah.
Total cash, general fund, balances are up.
Yes, it is. Yep.
We like tax time.
Uh,
We like tax time. May November are good ones. May November are good ones.
All right, perfect. Anything else for Audra? Thank you. And we'll go to Teresa with the city administrator report.
Okay, just a few things to note on my report. South Dakota Ward, we haven't done anything yet with that. Larry is still working with the insurance company to make sure they got correct verbiage on the contract, so we'll keep you posted on that. Flooring at City Hall, I think I mentioned last time, we already got one estimate from a company to come in and do something with the hallway here. Another company is supposed to come out tomorrow, kind of a concrete company, to look at different options there and give us an estimate. So hopefully they'll be in tomorrow and we'll have another option and we can kind of look at those. The Crestman Drainage Way that they want to deed over to the city, it's all been platted off, the deed's been drawn up. We did get the title insurance and that just came back this week. I had Larry review it. There's a couple things that we need Crestman's to address on it, and basically it's pay your taxes, getting a release of mortgages, kind of the normal stuff. So once they address that, then we can deed over the property to the city and we can take it over. Wastewater study, the engineers will present that at our next meeting to kind of go over that and let you know what we're looking at in the future as far as wastewater plants and treatments. just give you an update, P&Z board, they've been working on our comprehensive plan, kind of going section by section to update those. CCOG's been helping us with that. Last meeting we had, we reviewed a section, we're gonna do some more data this coming meeting on the 30th too, so they're kind of slowly working at that and going through that so we can update it. Did get a hold of Jeff Harms. As you know, we did that relocation of Diamond Trail to line it up. Part of that was so Jeff Harms could basically widen his south drive and close the north one. Well, he hasn't done any of that, and it's kind of confusing with all the driveways there, as you can see. So I did get a hold of him. He has lined up Merle and Roy. He's supposed to be this month come out and do that work to widen the south one. Then we'll get that north one closed. So then they'll just have the one larger driveway at the south, and then of course then the Diamond Trail Street. So it'll be a little less confusing for traffic, hopefully a little bit safer intersection there. The only other thing I wanted to mention with our pool, we've had 2 of our people that we've hired quit already. We haven't even opened. So Chrissy Levita is going to be assistant pool manager. She had taken another position altogether, so she is not going to be here, and then one of our lifeguards. But I am interviewing 2 people, one for the assistant manager and one for the lifeguard tomorrow. So hopefully we'll have good candidates and we can get them replaced. So just to let you know what's going on there. When we're still taking lifeguards, we probably could use 1 more just because of some of the schedules of our lifeguards. So hopefully maybe we'll keep looking for some, but we'll have enough to get it open and started and go from there. So that's all I have at this time.
Was one of those applicants the one from the job fair that was put on last week?
Well, I teased Jesse about that. The day of the job fair, we had sent some posters with Jesse to give out, saying, try to get us some lifeguards. And that very day, we had a gal come in that afternoon and
Oh, but it
fill one
wasn't
out.
from
So
that.
we're not sure that's
We're
from.
not sure yet.
Sure.
So I teased Jesse about, way to go, but I'm not really sure she came from the job fair, but hey, anyway, it's good. We'll take it.
Right. Okay, good. Questions for Teresa? Okay, good work on getting that stuff done with Harms. That'll be a nice thing to have wrapped up.
Craig talked about it. It's a
There's
mess
a good
there.
story
It's a
behind
good-
it too, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good to be done.
You don't wanna say it.
Yeah. That's good. All right. If nothing else, we'll move off of reports and we're gonna go up to oath of office. We have a couple of us that are starting our new term, so we'll take oath of office there. I believe I will start is have President Monahan give me my oath, and then we'll give, what do we got, Jones, Keel, and Monahan again. So we'll play around with that. So we'll go by the flag. So you get to show me how it's done, right? You get to show me how it's done. Yeah, it's been a year, you know.
It does.
So he's late, is the barber?
Yeah.
Put his hand on anything?
Nobody raised his arm, so that's good.
Yeah, raise my right
Raise his
hand,
hand,
right?
so yeah,
Raise
raise
his
his
hand.
hand, that's good.
Is this a repeat after me type of deal?
Okay, can be, yeah.
Can't remember. Repeat after me. I, Jeremy Manning, having been elected to the office of mayor,
I, Jeremy Manning, have been elected to the office of mayor
within and for said city of Hartford, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Constitution of the State of South Dakota.
within and for said city of Hartford, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of South Dakota.
And that I have willfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of my said office of mayor as provided by law.
And that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of my said office of mayor as provided by law. It's good news.
That's too bad, because I already have one, but.
Oh, we might as well get you right while you're here.
There you go, swear.
Let's just switch sides.
You better take those off if you don't want them in the picture.
I didn't want to read it.
Okay, all right, I just warned you.
All right, raise your hands. Repeat after me. I, Mark Monahan, having been elected to the office of councilperson within and for said city of Hartford,
I, Mark Monahan, having been elected to the office of councilperson Ward 2 within and for said city of Hartford,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of my said office of councilperson Ward 2 as provided by law.
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and that I will faithfully and impartially to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all of the duties of my said office, councilperson Ward 2, as provided by law.
Okay, now, hold on, let's get a reset. Okay. There we go. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Harden Jones.
I'll go next. Make sure you don't show my legs.
Everybody's so vain.
You did know this was
I'm
happening
gonna leave my
tonight.
glasses on.
You did know this was happening tonight. I can't help what you're wearing, I'm sorry.
All right, raise your right hand. I, Arden Jones, having been elected to the office of councilperson Ward 3 within and for said city of Hartford,
I, Arden Jones, having been elected to the office of councilperson Ward 3 within and for said city of Hartford,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of my said office of councilperson Ward 3 as provided by law.
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of my said office of councilperson Ward 3 as provided by law.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
All right.
You have to sign it.
I, Travis Keel, having been elected to the office of councilperson Ward 1 within and for the said city of Hartford,
I, Travis Keel, having been elected to the office of councilperson Ward 1 within and for said city of Hartford,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of my said office of councilperson Ward 1 as provided by law.
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of my said office of councilperson Ward 1 as provided by law.
All right, thank you.
And you'll need
Yeah,
these
I'm saying,
signed.
you can all sign them, you never have to sign them and then return them to us so we can keep them on file. We'll do to them.
Yep.
I still haven't been elected to this.
And Mark needs to sign out.
Not really, but you're not appointed, you're technically.
You're not
appointed.
You're not appointed. That's the thing.
Sure.
This one, so you get to take advantage of it a little bit more. Making fun of you. I didn't. That's right.
Okay. All right, so with that, we'll wait just a minute for Audra to get back.
I'll record anything.
Okay. Sounds good. So, old business, we can review the paperless packet options. I understand we have Monty and Aaron here tonight.
Just
I don't
give
know
them
if there's anything you wanna say ahead of time, or if we just introduce them and have them go?
Yeah, I guess we can have them come up to the podium, and you guys can ask some questions, you know, we've talked about this a little bit, you know, a couple meetings ago, our options, do we go with a laptop, or do we go with a tablet, and, you know, what are our options as far as getting the information, you know, versus a cloud or a jump drive or whatnot, and so they're here basically to kind of answer your technical questions that I couldn't answer this time around.
Sure. Get that live.
Yeah.
No problem. Thanks for coming. Sure.
Welcome aboard, so new experience. Okay.
Yeah.
So my understanding that you, if I understand, remember from a couple of meetings ago, that you're recommending a laptop versus a tablet, is that correct?
We do that only because we do work for the city of Brandon and Canton. Brandon has laptops, Canton has 2-in-1 laptop/tablet. So it really is subjective. You could have a tablet, you could have a laptop, you could have a tablet. It doesn't really matter, it's just what we've seen Brandon do, but you guys may be totally different. They keep the laptops on their council desks, they don't take them with them. They open it up during a meeting and they go through, you know, this packet on the machine. So that works well for them, but you guys might be in a different scenario. So there's no right answer. It's whatever you guys are comfortable with. And my understanding is you may take these home, correct, possibly?
So they do not see they don't get the information before the meeting, they just get it when they get to the,
Yeah,
Brandon, or yeah, I don't know.
they just get the.
they get
so-
the information when they get to the city council meeting, so everything's on that laptop, which is sitting all the time, you know,
Okay.
on the podium.
And I had kind of said to him, we would probably, you guys would probably take them home, because that way, over the, you know, you get your information on Friday, over the weekend, just like now, you can take a look at it, when you have time, if you need to look at a property or whatnot, I mean, I would assume you guys would take it with you versus just always sitting here.
Doesn't Brandon do a little pre-council meeting? Don't they do a preparatory meeting and then an actual council meeting? Or am I thinking of another community?
We haven't actually sat in on their meetings, so we don't really know how
Yeah,
they're conducted. We just know that their laptops always stay
Okay.
They
within
may.
this building.
I believe they do though, I remember hearing something on that order, I think they go, at least they go through like a city staff meeting ahead of time where they go through some of their reports and some of those things ahead of time. So
It's
that
just not cold.
they don't take any action,
Right.
it's just more or less.
So they're kind of familiar with the agenda and things when they sit down.
That's my understanding, I haven't seen them do it or anything.
You're right, Raleigh, who's the maintenance supervisor there, he's mentioned before some kind of prep or, you know, whatever they call it, to they've got an overview of what they're gonna go over.
Teresa, did you get my email about the city of Madison? I know you have email issues.
It's all
I hold
familiar.
a electrical license in the city of Madison, which, hey, there's another revenue generator for the city of Hartford. $100 a year. And they inadvertently sent me the link that they send to their council people.
Nice.
Click on that link, and you got the whole agenda. I mean, there was no proprietary information in there anyway, it was public information, but kind of, I thought, yeah, that's maybe something you can move to. Email link comes, click on it, familiarize yourself, then you sit down here. It's no different than picking up the packet, you know, so.
Brandon set up, they have their, they do a PDF, so if you're familiar with Dennis Olson at all, he's in Brandon, he takes this packet, converts it into a PDF, and then it sits on their server, and that's how they access it. Canton uses a program called Board Docs, which is it's a municipal gear cloud-based system, but you could use any cloud system you want. Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, there's a lot of options. And like you said, you could actually share this with people outside this room if you wanted to, if that was ever a need, or if it needs to stay just within the council.
The reliability of the cloud.
We get asked that a lot.
Huh?
We get asked that a lot. That's a good
Well,
question.
Yeah, I mean, because I have issues where I work, and so,
Sure.
or even to expand on that, cloud versus thumb drive, advantages, disadvantages.
Thumb drive, you could lose it, it could get faulty, someone could steal it. Cloud, most people feel that it's not secure if they can't touch it or feel it. Actually, cloud security is stronger than any security on premise, but if you can't see it, touch it, it doesn't feel as secure. The pros of cloud is it's accessible anywhere as long as you have an internet connection. thumb drive, it's with you, you can pass it along and make sure it doesn't get in any hands that you don't want it into.
And also, when you're passing around a thumb drive, you can plug it into an infected computer and then plug it into every other computer after that and infect it with the same virus. See that happen.
Never thought of that.
We see that happen often too.
As far as cost effective, with the different types of clouds then too, this stuff is, we're handling stuff that needs to stay out there for a while that we can access it. So it's gonna add up a lot.
Sure.
PDFs on the course of size too are very small, and even with a lot of the free services out of Google Drive, Dropbox, even with the free space that they provide you, you'd be able to save probably hundreds of these before you have to worry about that.
Really? Dropbox is that?
Yeah, they give you, I don't know,
Dropbox for business, you guys would do that, it's $12.50 a user, per user, a terabyte of space.
Okay.
OneDrive is $5 up to, they're all a little different, but it's gonna be 5 up to 15, depending on what service it is on. Space would never be an issue.
Is that a per month?
Correct. That's per month.
We use BoxSync. We use BoxSync. You ever use that one?
We do, we've had some clients actually decommission their file server and they put everything.
We did, that's what we did. We have BoxSync and it's just slicker than a whistle.
And I think that's where we struggle is which direction to go.
Right.
Sure.
As far as that.
So excuse me, you done?
No, go ahead.
If we went to say something like BoxSync or Dropbox or something like that, that all stays out on the cloud. We had iPads, let's just say. We could access that at any time.
As long as you have an internet connection, correct?
Right, right.
You could even save it locally to the iPad too, just in case for some reason.
If we needed, if we needed to.
Correct.
But if it was out there on the cloud, we could go back, whatever. It'd be there forever. I mean, we got stuff on ours. I mean, we just loaded we took our server out, loaded all of our stuff off of our server on the box.
Sure. And that scenario really facilitates access anywhere.
Right.
Smartphone, tablet, laptop, across vendor, Apple, Android, doesn't matter what.
Yeah.
We don't have individual access if, we want to save certain things in a folder out there, certain like sports complex plans and things like that that I want to access, but Arden doesn't want to get to, it's my folder. If, I get thrown in jail and Teresa needs to shut down my access, she can shut that down anytime.
Correct.
Okay.
With that
That's what I
type of
was just
service,
wondering with the changeover, on council.
Right.
Right.
Switch use of,
like BoxSync, that's Box is geared for more enterprise. You have security layers, permissions, groups. Exactly. If someone leaves and they need to get
Multiple locations, you can tap it. I mean, Dale and we can hit from where we're at. It's pretty slick.
I guess my personal opinion would be towards tablets too, I guess, but just because laptops, I feel like we're gonna take them home, I don't think that's,
Right.
to have them here and stay here is not something that we would do. But
The subjective part with that is what we see a lot is, a lot of people say, I want a tablet, then they go home, they're like, I really like to print, I really like to type. So just try to forecast that, what you might do with it, because once you get it, you're locked into it.
that's a good point too.
Right.
We see that a lot. People get tablets, you've seen people with iPads and then they get a keyboard. Doing this, and I wish I had a mouse, that's called a laptop. They just like, it looks cool.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of times too, we've seen cases like this where we initially went with the iPad or tablet, and then months later, took them back out and replaced them all with laptops because people wanted to do exact things.
I don't have one of them, not too familiar. What are those, Surface, the one that has kind of a combo with what's it called, Surface?
Yeah, it's essentially a laptop.
Kind of a laptop, but smaller.
Yeah.
I think it's expensive though,
Are
right?
are they pretty expensive?
That's where they get you at the smaller, it's more
Okay.
expensive.
Yeah,
So the advantage
you have one? It's pretty slick.
From a cost standpoint, a laptop with the cloud-driven storage system would be probably the most cost-effective for the city.
iPads would be the next close, or an Android tablet would be. So if it was truly just if you were only ever gonna look at this, you were never gonna type or modify it, a tablet would be easy, you just scroll through the pages. But if you're ever gonna type on it, then laptop. But laptops will be less expensive than iPads, 300 to 400, that's a ballpark. And there's two versions of iPads, there's this one and they make a bigger one too.
And with that remote, and with that link or that remote access, if a person was just adamantly opposed to their laptop, then it's kind of on them to get their other device if they so
Right.
choose. If you like a tablet, we'll buy a tablet.
Yeah, it's really subjective, you could mix it up, it's whatever you're more comfortable
Sure,
with.
sure,
You don't all have to be uniform.
sure.
I have an old laptop and that thing is like a
Right.
boat anchor all around. They've changed. I went to a tablet, so I don't even haul my sets in my closet.
The biggest reason Brandon did it is some of the members really want to type, they take notes. And minimize the PDF that people are talking, you'll see them typing. They'll take notes, but
Sure.
that's why they did it.
It might be just a little bit superficial, but I think one of the nice things in your laptop is your screen can be sitting like this. You go through, you're looking, you're still, otherwise we're all gonna be sitting here like this all the time. It's just one of those things, it's true. It's cheaper.
Right, in line of sight with people that you're gonna converse with, or right, on like a phone or tablet, right? You're gonna be down, very down. Is this, just out of curiosity, this packet was 40-some pages. Did this get a lot bigger than this?
This is a small one.
Yeah, and at times there's, like I said, there's maps, so there's pictures, and so there's a lot more.
I think this packet PDF was 3 bags, 3.5. It wasn't, I don't think it was that big. So you would never run out of space.
Did you say 3 meg?
Yeah. 3.5 maybe. It wasn't that large.
Where are we in the discussion of paperless for us and planning and zoning? Apologize if I missed that in one of these last meetings, but
I don't know
Have
that
we
we even
talked-
talked about planning and zoning, did we?
At budget time, we budgeted 10,000, and in budget time, we talked about the council and then possibly planning zoning, but I don't think we talked about it since then.
This has always been talked about as a test.
Yeah.
sure.
And if it's a smashing success, I think then you look at passing it on to planning and zoning. So for right now, we're looking at 7 devices. Teresa's got hers, Audra's got hers, Craig's got his.
Do we need to look at the devices?
You have to drag his desktop here now, so you probably need 80 for,
want a
we
big
can use our
screen.
laptops.
We have our,
I couldn't tell there was so much dirt on it when I was down at the shop talking to you the other day.
It's a dirty area down there. It's just clean too.
I don't know, I think a laptop would be fine, and my only other concern is I want to be able to go back in time and access that information for at least 6 months.
Oh, yeah, we can easily do that.
So, if that's on the cloud,
We can,
PDF, I don't really like the idea of thumb drive.
no.
That's just something to keep track of and handing out and loading, and that just,
Sort of thing.
Because if I remember it, you can buy space like a box. We got a lot of,
That depends on the plan you get, but
yeah, we got a lot of space. We got tons of stuff.
you'll never have a space problem.
We've got stuff archived up there from 15 years ago.
but I also think, here's my lack of computer knowledge. If it's in the cloud or on a link and you click on it, I personally think when you click on it, it should download to the laptop. So you don't have to keep going back to the link or going back to the cloud. I think the information just needs to be downloaded and then it's there.
Most of the time, I think you can do that if you click on it.
I don't know how it works.
And then
so.
download it from the clouds.
Correct.
That's the next step.
I only want to have to worry about finding it one time, wherever it is.
You just might have to do an extra step as long as.
But that's just me.
Sure, no, I understand.
But, and here's my thought, we're sitting here talking about laptops or tablets too. For that matter, I mean, not to put anybody in the spot, but I guess I've got a laptop, you know, and I mean, Travis just said, if you want something better, then go buy it, you know. If you want an Android or if you want an iPad, I mean, you guys we don't need to buy another laptop on my part. If somebody else has an iPad or something like that they want to use, you know, we can use that too, I guess. I guess I'm thinking, you know, if you don't need it, maybe there's only 3 of us that need to have an actual unit.
I think you want city-owned devices,
Yeah, I
don't
to
know.
pass on to the next council
Right.
person and
Okay.
whatnot.
Right.
I don't wanna go down the
I
road
don't think you want to.
with personal
Right.
use devices with whatever you're doing in your personal life, plus whatever you're downloading on a government elected official.
Convenient timing, right?
I'm not gonna go down that road ever.
Okay.
That's a good point. I mean, it's
That's
better to
got-
have a company-managed device. Somebody leaves, you have.
Yeah.
So it stays and goes to the next council person,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is maybe jumping ahead, but you guys maybe know this. So we're having a council meeting and there's 8 or 9 of us all hitting against the bandwidth. Do we got enough so it's not gonna be sitting here slow? You know, if we're all hitting the cloud.
Get the
through
wireless, yeah.
Right.
It should be, in worst case, we did some testing sitting over there to see how strong the wireless
Okay,
was, to
right.
see, worst case, we could install another access point there.
Booster or something.
That's not a deal breaker at all.
Okay, okay.
Or at your leisure, you could just download it either Friday night, Saturday,
Hit the
Sunday,
cloud.
Monday, Tuesday morning, in your case, Tuesday afternoon.
Now you're
And
the
then
expert.
you're not getting the bandwidth.
And
Now
obviously,
you're the expert on downloading?
These things are really small.
I'm not gonna download it, I'm just gonna come and look at it on the.
I just had to explain to you how to download. Now that you're the expert, come on.
We really got 2 decisions to make. It sounds like everybody, we first got
What device you
cloud
want?
versus thumb drive. And then we got what kind of device. So, I think we start with that.
Sure. And I'll give Teresa pricing, but just assume that the highest 15 per user per month. That's it, that'd be the Cadillac. It goes all the way down to 5. It just depends on vendor and options. From
What's
Dropbox
the price? What's that price for?
For the cloud.
Oh, the
Because
cloud.
every person would have an account.
$100 a year. Training, and so the bidding process on your end, I mean, I can refresh my memory of the bidding process. I can't remember how that actually was supposed to go down.
She's talking to me, sorry, what?
The bidding process, how was that supposed to go down?
Well, we won't hit the bidding amount at all.
Okay, okay.
We
So
would have to-
these guys are gonna be the ones that are gonna be, you know, checking out the options, right? Okay. Training needed at all?
Very minimal, depends on the person, but at most, not much at all.
I agree with Mr. Monahan as far as storing it down to the unit itself. I like to do that myself. Laptop versus a tablet storage space on that unit itself. Is that an issue?
It should, no,
Okay.
with this size that I got,
Three
so I
bags.
asked how much bigger these would get.
Okay, so there's enough hard drive there to get it done. Okay,
Oh, absolutely.
there you go, Mark. I'm with you on that, buddy.
I'll make a motion just to have Teresa continue on the bidding process with our IT bar.
Big folks.
Yeah,
Big quote.
sorry, yeah. For laptops and the cloud system.
I second that.
Any more discussion?
Are you comfortable with that, guys?
Yeah,
Make sure everything cool? Okay.
Make sure Mark can download it.
Is there anything else that you have questions on for that, Teresa? Like,
No,
I know
I
you
think
may be
that-
down the road, but. as far as this part goes.
If one
I
with a
think they'll get it
Wisconsin
started.
engine.
You know what? I'm gonna take this moment to tell everybody here that's chiming in, y'all sound real smart, talking about the cloud. And, what do you call it, hitting the light line,
Yeah, hitting the bandwidth.
hitting the bandwidth, so kudos to all you computer savvy, council
Since I don't do anything else, as you've told me several times, I just spend a lot of time on my computer. Gee, well, you've told me several times I don't do anything, so I'm just,
Handing them back. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Last point of discussion, you know, it's everybody that has the key to that box, who picks up their packet when, is Mark Monahan gonna have that ability to see who downloads the,
now, if that, I'm gonna start taking a picture when I pick up my packet. I'm gonna line them all up and take a picture.
Being how we're going down this road, when you pick it up, makes absolutely no difference. When you get it out and read it, is what makes the difference. You can pick it up on Friday, but if you don't take it out of the black folder until 7 o'clock on Tuesday night, doesn't matter what you got in that box.
fair enough.
All right, we got a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Let's do it. All right, Nelson.
Yes.
Horn. Yes. Keel.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
And Monahan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Gentlemen, we appreciate it. These poor guys have no clue what we're talking about up here. All right.
That was good.
Yeah, we'll wait just a minute here.
Look at these all boss.
Retired.
Whatever.
All right, next on the agenda is to discuss the proposed dump site. 22nd is the date that Teresa is going to the county to hand in her application and talk about that, so want to be able to get some details ironed out before that.
But last meeting, we kind of talked about what we're gonna do with the grass, you know, we're gonna have to utilize some dumpsters, but maybe some of it we could, you know, get to area farmers and get rid of some of the grass at that point. And then we know with the tree branches, Craig was in contact with the company that's gonna be able to chip those or mulch them and take that away from us too. So that's okay, so I can convey that to the county. One thing I know they're gonna ask me though, that I wanna just kind of touch base on you again, is the days and hours it's gonna be open, because I'm sure they will ask me that, what days. Now, when I originally submitted our application, I put a narrative, and we had previously talked about like Wednesday nights and Saturdays. Is that our same thought? I just wanna, because I don't know if they'll tie us down to that's when only you can do it or not, you know, I mean, they have that ability to do that, but so I just wanted to make sure we don't have any other thoughts of when we wanna be open or.
Can we change it if we look at someone online it needs to be changed?
Possibly, if they don't lock us in on, this is a conditional use permit, so they can put any conditions they want. If they want to say, you're gonna only be open, you requested Wednesday from 5 PM to 8 PM and Saturday, they can do that. So I just wanna make sure.
And we can be open less than what we asked.
Yes,
You know, but,
yeah.
but once we want more, we probably have to go ask.
That was the point I was just thinking, if we request Monday through Friday from 5 to 9, and Saturday from 8 to 9, or whatever, and then we as a city determine that we're just gonna do Wednesdays and Saturdays, to start with, we have that ability as well.
Yeah.
Then they deny us though because they don't want to dump, but it's going on that much, I don't know.
I mean, I think we
Well,
should,
if we did that Monday through Friday, we determined that, you know what, when we did the Wednesday thing, we determined, you know what, Wednesdays aren't working, Tuesdays would be better, or whatever the case was, we could rotate it around.
and I can
Maybe go
certainly
back to
request
the
when I go in there that, you know, if down the line we need to change the hours of the day, you know, is that possible, and I can request that, but like I said, I know in the narrative, I put in, we're thinking about Wednesday nights and Saturdays, and I didn't know if I should go to that meeting saying, yeah, this is when we're gonna do it, or that it may change to more frequent hours or days or whatnot.
I'm comfortable with those hours, but, obviously,
But ask them the ability.
they can change. I mean, if we're getting feedback that says, you know, Tuesdays and Fridays work better, or Sundays work better, I guess, just, you know, see if, I guess if everybody's on board with me, but see if we are able to change it on a later date.
And that's maybe what I can do is I can go to the county and say, you know, here's what we're going to start with, you know, Wednesday evenings and Saturdays for some time period. And ask them though, you know, if need be, can you change that in the future for different times of days?
Yeah.
So they might go with that. They may just have it, we determine, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can't be the first place that would change in hours, I would imagine.
Yeah, but it is, I think it is one of those things you wanna go back as low as possible.
Oh, I agree.
You know,
I agree
you don't
with
wanna
that,
do
yeah.
that.
You
You don't wanna keep bringing up, yeah, we still got that dump site on your county land over there, you know, like, once it's nice to go back as possible.
I agree with that, I agree with that. You don't wanna go back and just say, oh, we're changing it to Tuesdays, you wanna broaden it even more. but-
Mhm. Mhm.
And I don't think we wanna, you know, like I said, I don't think we wanna go out there too intense, say, yeah, we're gonna have it open every day, 24/7, just to give us that leeway, you know, I think we wanna give them an idea of what we want.
Do we have time to change it before?
Yes, I need to convey that to them before the 22nd, so that's why.
Should we change it to like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 5 to 9? And then do Saturday, Sunday? What were our hours we put down? Was it 9 to 6 or something like that?
And my narrative, all I said was, we're thinking of Wednesday evenings and Saturday during the day. So I
Okay.
didn't give them any hours, giving us that leadway.
So if we go in and we say, we change it to say Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday evenings, and then Saturday and Sunday, all day. I don't know.
Can't we just leave it on Wednesday and Saturday and ask them not to put any time or day restrictions on it? Because it needs
I
to be
try.
flexible.
And I
in case
was
we
going
need
to
to
say,
modify
yeah,
it.
you know, if this doesn't work out, we may
Really, we
change
don't
our
know.
Wednesday to a Tuesday, or like you said, or whatnot, and so.
I mean, if you go in asking for, you know, a Wednesday night and half a Saturday, they know you're not looking at running this thing 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Mhm.
So,
I think I'll keep with my narrative saying this is what we discussed, this is probably what we'll start operating with, but that may change in the future if.
yeah, I would just stick with what we have and ask them not to put any time or day restrictions on it in case we need to modify it, so we don't have to go back to the county to modify it.
And even if you're able to be able to say one weekday and one weekend day, I mean, would be nice to be able to have in there to say, we may change it within those, but it might be Tuesday, Sunday, it might be Wednesday, Saturday.
Yeah, that's a good thing too, so.
There's a lot of leeway that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One day, one weekend day.
Yeah.
And,
Do you think that they're gonna ask about security cameras and like that?
And that's another thing they may ask, how
How's it
we're
gonna
going
be
to
monitored?
monitor, because I said we don't really know at this point, we haven't decided how we're going to monitor, whether it be power or cameras, and that's what I put in the narrative too, so, you know, I can tell we're still undecided at this point.
Okay,
you
that's
know,
okay, all right,
so,
okay.
I think it'd be safe to say, well, you can tell them it's gonna be one or the other.
I think so. I mean, I think
Yeah.
council should consider that we need to monitor.
It'll be
one way or the
monitored
other.
some way,
Some
shape, or
fashion, yeah.
fashion, yeah, some kind
Some
of fashion,
fashion.
so. Okay, that's really all I need to know at this point. And we can talk about more specific dates and times if and when we get the conditional use then, and when we get ready to go, so.
When is that next week? Next week you go to?
22nd, yeah,
Yeah.
next Tuesday, yeah. So.
So
Okay.
by our June meeting, we need to have it on the agenda and know exactly
First
what
one.
we want to open for hours if we get approved.
Yep.
And how we're gonna monitor it.
Yep, so we're thinking about that.
Okay. Does that give you enough, Teresa?
Yep, I think that's all I need to know, I just want.
Gosh, that was. Okay,
Can't think if we'd spend this much time talking about Vandermark.
Just think. Just think. All right, so next on the agenda, we've got the proposed city position. Last meeting, we asked Teresa to put together a job description, and that position description in the packet. So,
Looks good.
I could say so. Well, I put kind of my thoughts in the narrative, you know, after the meeting, I talked to Craig about the position, talked to Jesse, talked to both Audra and Rhonda too in the office, getting input of how we can see this working, you know. We're all pretty much in agreement, you know, just a park rec director, and we talked about council, I mean, you know, that's probably not a full-time job, you know, where you keep them busy, you know, 40 hours a week all year round, whatnot. Talked about Craig about utilizing them outside, you know, it's gonna be hard for him to utilize them just because, you know, they don't have CDLs, they don't have spraying license and whatnot, you know, they'd have to get all that stuff to be able to really utilize them, you know, in the outside capacity. We talked a little about, you know, can they do mowing and striping up there? Well, you could get somebody to do stuff like that, but then a person that's gonna do that kind of outside work is probably not the same kind of person that's going to schedule ball field and do more of the office work. I mean, you got two spectrums of people there, I think. So, you know, to think of a 40-hour position, you know, especially after talking with the girls, you know, we see it could be used, we could use it more like an office assistant, where maybe that can be the receptionist, you know, answering the phone calls when they come in, greeting the people when they come in, doing the simple things like, you know, if they've come in for a golf cart permit or a pet license, you know, giving it to them. Code enforcing, we thought we could utilize them in capacity too. Mark had brought it up as being, you know, code enforcer, building inspector. I kind of shy away from the building inspecting part because that's such a specialized thing and you really have to know the codes. And Paul Clark does a great job at that. And you know, I think we could keep him busy with that. I mean, he just puts in whatever time he needs. So, you know, if he needs, if it's few less hours, I don't think that would faze him at all, you know. But the code enforcing, you know, he does do it, but you know, does he do it in the most timeliest manner? You know, he's only here, you know, 2-3 days a week, you know. So if we get a grass complaint on, you know, Wednesday, you know, it may not get addressed till Saturday, and then a letter may not get sent out, you know, to the following Tuesday, and you know, and the following up on properties or whatnot. So if we had somebody who could, you know, get the complaints, shoot out a letter right away, get their clock a ticking, you know, as far as mowing grass or cleaning up the nuisances, and then when the date to recheck the property comes, they can go out, they can go check it right away. You know, we can stay on top of that stuff a little bit better, I think, too, you know. Jesse noted he, you know, can certainly assist him as far as, you know, getting out mailings or newsletters, or say the HADC or the Chamber of Parks could help in that capacity too. You know, so you do these little things on them, plus, you know, especially during the summertime, be able to schedule the ball fields or work with the baseball association and the soccer association, line up, you know, the fields, maybe work with them as far as scheduling tournaments, you know, be able to do advertising for them and promotions, be able to go to the different committee meetings, you know, so they could, as far as that capacity too, act as a park director and do all of that stuff too. So we kind of see it as a twofold, or maybe an office assistant and a park director. And like I said, I think combine the two, I think that could keep a person busy full time.
Did you get any feedback from Troy Larson or Dave Lorraine?
Dave Lorraine gave me a little feedback, and it was some of the stuff we already had on there. The only thing he had put on, additional, I'll put some back here, was that I noticed that isn't really in here, is that he had put in mowing and striping the fields and possibly stuff like that. I mean, I think he was thinking of just what to use for the sports complex. But as far as the other stuff, he said work with the leagues to, and the associations like, you know, the soccer, flag football, the baseball to set up, you know, tournaments, to schedule practices and the games and the tournaments to help organize those events. He had also put in there too, I guess is one thing, is coordination of concessions, well, we really don't have concessions at this point. So in the future we may, but you know, maybe that person could do that as well too. And then coordinating fundraising efforts and grant writing, and I got that in the job description too, so.
With our new city website, we have a
Yeah.
page dedicated to our parks department,
Yes.
and then maybe this person could be responsible for
Yeah.
making sure that's updated as well.
And we kind of thought too, they can help with, you know, keeping the website updated, maybe take a little off Audrey and do more key stuff too, and you know,
Sure.
kind of the, you know, put the soup supper and that kind of stuff, and you know, kind of keep on top of that.
I think it's great that we have it. I don't see a lot of support of it for it here tonight in the audience. We've mulled it over up here a lot. I look at this as, it's kind of like getting a survey for Vandemark. You're laying some groundwork, and if you feel the need to move forward with it, you've already you've got a plan, you know. So I'm glad to see we have a plan. And I think there's a lot of opportunity. You know, I think there's a lot of opportunity now. I think there's going to be even more opportunity in the future. Timing maybe isn't right to get a college graduate or something like that. We may end up with more of an administrative assistant who we give them park and rec responsibilities. But that's about all I had when I looked at this and thought about where we're at in the season.
What I think about when we look at this is, you mentioned that maybe the timing isn't right for hiring right now, and I'm not convinced that the timing is right for bringing that position into the city yet. Where we are with the sports complex and some of the uncertainty that's there with that, I feel like it's creating a position before we know what's going to happen with some of that, and I always am hesitant to bring somebody in, change their life to some degree, bring them in, give them a job, say, hey, maybe, and then, but we don't really know yet at that point with all the expenses and certain things we have coming up. So my biggest hesitancy with it is that I don't know we're ready to spend money on a sports complex and create more fields and do all of those things yet. So I don't want to give any false impressions that, because once you put this out there, I feel like you're saying to everybody, this person's got the flag and they're running forward with it, and by God, we're going to go out there and we're going to do it. And I don't know that we have that feeling yet. The other thing I'd asked Teresa last week was, said, what have you, I think Teresa did a great job, and everybody who helped put all this together, because it fits two different areas. It kind of helps make it work when we don't know if it can fill full time. But I asked Teresa last week, hey, what have you asked for something in the office this year if it came time for budgeting? Is the need that dire right now where you'd say, yeah, we would want to budget for a part-time person in the office anyway? And
No, and I told them, I certainly wouldn't ask for that budget. I mean, we're handling all the duties in the budget now, and I don't think anything's slipping through the cracks, you know, if somebody else was in here, yeah, we could put some duties on them, but I mean, things are getting taken care of, and I don't feel that we need an office assistant, not at this point, as we grow and things get bigger and whatnot, at some point we probably will, but I would have requested one, yeah.
The code enforcement ordinance end of that, when you maybe create a little ill will in the community, more than the goodwill that we're trying to create with this, in my opinion, too, and you got somebody there kind of bulldogging that code enforcement.
Yeah, you might, if you got somebody more on top of it, you might,
so I don't know where the rest of the council is on it. We haven't spent a lot of time talking, but I do like one of the things you just said, Travis a few minutes ago was, this gives us a blueprint or an option. If we're ready to move down this road, we have a little better idea of what that would look like, and that's where I'm at on it, is that it gives us a business plan to say, if we're ready to move forward, this is probably how we would move forward. If I had a vote tonight, my vote would be that we don't at this point, but that's my opinion.
Again, you know, we're elected, or we're here to represent the taxpayers, and this has been talked about a lot. But again, the support isn't sitting here tonight, and so if that should come around, you know what, we've been proactive in it, and then we can move forward. I agree, I wouldn't even be in support of moving any further with it at this point.
I would say it's interesting that tonight we had a discussion over a force account expense on sewer and water lines running to the sports complex at the same time we're talking about this. Really, it kind of goes hand in hand. We're almost, when I looked at both of those things, it's almost a cart before the horse. We need to make sure what we're gonna do up there. Several of us have said that. This is maybe not a bad idea, not right now. This is just maybe not the time, so.
Thank you. Good job putting that together, Teresa.
Hey.
Is there any, go ahead.
While we're moving on, because this has come up since last budget. And if there's truly, if there's truly enough support to go down that road someday in the future, I think, like Arden mentioned, before we go down that road of hiring somebody to manage that complex, we need to have a discussion about irrigation. We need to have a discussion about stationary plumbing. We need to have a discussion about concessions, because the word tournament's been thrown out a lot lately. And I don't want the city of Hartford to be embarrassed holding a tournament on fields that don't have concessions, don't have irrigation, don't have pavement, don't have electricity, don't have running water.
Don't have a scoreboard.
Well, I mean, honestly, and I don't know, I haven't been up there to survey the grass on the soccer fields, but I've heard that that's still not good enough for gameplay. It's good enough for practice, but I've heard it's not good enough for gameplay.
I was up there 2 weeks ago and talked to a couple coaches, and they, I can't remember, Darren Wildy?
Yep.
And they've had some Sioux Falls teams come out and play out there, and the Sioux Falls team said that the grass was in pretty good shape. They comparing what they play on. So surprisingly, because I was out there playing the grass too, you know, the biggest thing we have is drying up and dying. You know, because we put a ton of money into getting that thing seeded. And from my perspective, it looked pretty good. It doesn't look as good as Tony Randall's yard, but it's not bad.
And we had a pretty good year last year as far as rainfall went and everything, went. As irrigation's still a thing, because, the next 3 years might not be that way. It could dry.
Well,
up,
I mean, I think the next step in that process is water and sewer.
Agreed.
Period.
Yes.
Because you don't need electricity and you don't need lights. But without water and sewer, you're not irrigating, you don't have stationary facilities. I mean, you can get a taco truck out there if people want to eat. You don't need a building for food. But you need a building for other things. I mean, honestly, and it doesn't have to be Hartford Park, but if you can't water the grass, and you can't water the fields, and you can't use the restroom,
Can't de-water the crowd.
well, you're gonna have a lot of upset patrons, at a tournament in July, and, you're using a porta potty, that's,
I agree.
Yep.
so, I mean, I missed the engineer discussion, you know, I don't know what the cost is. But I mean, if we're gonna make a move,
Well, there was an entry on the force
all
account.
sports count is the
Yeah,
development.
the engineer discussion is that,
And the sports complex is paying for it. They just wanted an update on the
cost
water sewer
estimates for all
lines.
that
Right.
stuff, so they're gonna get that to us.
But, I mean, if we're gonna make a move, we make a move on water and sewer, we can get it up to central states. You know, plan for future, or at least sub it out.
Sports complex, we're done, are you done? I'm sorry. It
Yeah.
has $120,183.79.
Yep,
Okay,
because you guys budgeted $100,000.
Yeah, that's because we budgeted 100,000.
exactly, you know, a month ago, we had Norm up here saying, you know, the dire straits and stuff. I mean, I just kind of like to, just, you're talking about having amenities, you know, it's as simple as water and sewer, which I agree, and I'm just a little confused on where, I'll use the word they, are going next. I mean, as far as, that's not a fair question to even say, because no one knows in this room, unless Terry, you can expand on it, but, you know, it'd be nice to have a little directive, but I know they're thin. And, but we, in retrospect, don't want to lose them. And having this position is not the answer to that question. But how do we as a council, how do we as a city, create a buzz, for lack of a better term, with $120,000 so that we can start talking about, you know, positions like this and tournaments and so on and so forth.
And I think I'm gonna curve it there just a minute though, Scott, because of what's on our agenda right now is discussing the city position.
You're right. Good point.
I think it's a discussion that needs to happen. I think we need to lead that as a council. It's one of the things that's come up over and over is that we're waiting for a group to say, here, let's go. And I think that we probably need to help lead that discussion because of the cost it's gonna take, everything that goes along with that. So, I believe if we're gonna lead that, we need to get that added on the agenda item. We need to talk about that, right?
You're right.
And maybe that can be an agenda item once we get those cost figures
Exactly.
in
That's
front
a
of
great
you, so
idea.
you have an idea of at least ballpark figure, what is sprinkler, you know, water gonna cost us, what is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the second biggest department in our city, and we have no plan in place to who's gonna run it. Now we got a plan in place.
There's a plan.
Who's gonna run it.
No, I like it.
Yeah, so.
All right. Thank you. Move on to new business. Got Jamboree Committee is here. Craig is here. Request for additional funds. We got background on this, otherwise I'll let you guys go ahead.
I'm coming in as a very minor part of Jim, just to help out.
As you're wearing a city of Hartford shirt.
Don't take it out though.
No, that's okay, keep it on.
Really what we're doing, I'm here representing for Jamboree Days. We're looking for a $9,500 loan. We're not asking you to fund it, we're not asking to keep it. It's more or less a request to cover the band and production, rain insurance, all of that, until of our gate fees, vendor fees, sponsorship, beer sales, proceeds, any extra funding that we have coming in, until we have that secured. The expenses that we have right now are $13,000 for the band, $8,000, that's a high end, it's gonna be no more than $8,000 for production, no more than $4,000 for rain insurance, we're looking at $30,000 coverage for rain insurance, and so that would bring us on a high end total of $25,000. Currently to date, we have secured $15,500 of that 25. That's why we're asking for the difference of the 95 currently. We do have additional sponsors that have been contacted. They said they're interested in helping sponsor it. However, they haven't committed to a dollar amount yet. And then, like I said, we're also doing gate fees, vendor fees, etc. We don't feel that the 9,500 is gonna be any problem, so we're not too scared on that behalf. Reasoning for trying to book a bigger band, I know that's not one of the questions, why go bigger? Obviously, these guys are well-known, way back in the 80s, they were very well-known. Some songs you might even be familiar with was The Bluest Eyes of Texas, if they happen to be the ones that sang that one. I think that's the one that kind of rings to most people that know country. We're also looking at this since our event almost folded quite a few years back when we were downtown. Obviously, we're trying to find ways to continue to grow this event and thrive and put Hartford on the map. By putting Hartford on the map, we now have our name as Hartford, South Dakota on their tour site. And we come in between, what was it, Carlsbad, New Mexico, and Chipley, Florida. So we are specifically out on their tour list. So kind of fun to see our small name in between some really big names. We decided to, like I said, try to put Hartford on the map. We moved our event from Main Street, our Saturday events, down to the park, as if many of you have attended. That only grew that event. Every year we try to even add a little bit more to that. We added the car show 8 years ago. Last year, the decision was made to move it to the park. If anybody remembers, last year we had some pretty big weather threats, but we still ended up with record number carts, which if anybody has a nice car or a showable car, they know that they look at a radar and they run or cower per se of a rain cloud. Like I said, for us to have record numbers last year with that threat and the threat coming through, that was kind of impressive. This year, if it does hold true, we're looking at potentially 100 plus cars expected for this year's event, which will really be a record for us, because I think our highest last year was 81. Also, as many of you know, because we've been in front of you on this one, we added the car show, or the burnout to the car show. This will be our 3rd year. So far, we've had success with that. We've also added a carnival. This will be the 3rd year consistent running for a carnival. And really, we've had feedback on the band, looking at, how do you make everybody happy with the band? It's hard to do. So the decision was to try to bring in a bigger name, a bigger band, and never know until you try. So we're taking a leap. That's why we're here. Questions, comments?
I'll jump in here and say that I've attended a few Jamboree committee meetings. I know they're working very hard at this. And this council, not this particular one, but in the previous ones, have tried things to see if it works and stuff like that. And I would not to call it a leap of faith, but I certainly appreciate the hard work that they put into it. Another thing that I feel is a kind of important caveat to this is that Ms. Melissa McBride is going to have a concert that same very day, right down the road in Sioux Falls. It's already sold out. Okay, but number one tells me that that genre of music obviously is extremely popular. If they're going to fill the Denny, and those people that want to go to this kind of event, something like that, you're going to look for someplace to go because they can't get into the Denny. And I think that some of the advertising that they've done is going to be targeting that, and I think you'll be happily surprised. But in order to get it done, I'm fully on board with them getting a little upfront money because of the fact that they are trying really hard. I think that they've thought it over extensively to the point where it will be a success.
Do you know what day this contract was signed?
I'm not exactly sure the exact date. It would have been shortly after we had had a meeting to let them know go forward.
Looks like March 31st, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I have the size right here.
Ballpark, March.
It would have been, yeah, it would have been mid-March. We told them to go ahead and pursue. We were looking at Sammy Kershaw initially. Sammy Kershaw was booked, so he went out and was looking at additional bands that could potentially have some openings. I would say that was mid-March that we met on that, so it would have probably been late March, early April that it would have been signed.
I just feel a lot better about it if somebody would have came to the council before and asked for more money. Have you read this entire record?
Have I, word for word? No. Did I read the
Do you
majority of
know-
it? Yes.
Do you know if everything's worked out?
As far as what?
Lodging's been worked out, the meal's been worked out.
I was
What
gonna say,
about
you're asking
security?
about,
We're working on security. That's one thing we addressed last night. Hopefully have some action. We're starting to meet every week now.
Plus parking,
Parking's gonna be,
hospitality?
hospitality's covered.
Purchaser to provide a clean, well-lit area with easy public access for the sale of restless heart merchandise.
they want like an 8x8 or a 10x10 tent that they can sell the merchandise on.
What about the load in?
But,
Load in? Load in, load out?
oh,
For volunteers to load in and load out? Has that been worked out?
as far as like for the stage and stuff like that, or as far as.
This contract says somebody's gonna provide 4 people to help them
Yeah.
load in.
Justin's got that covered.
And it's gonna,
I
4
believe,
people to help them load out.
I believe that's with the production part of it.
Yep.
The production company's providing 4 people?
They're the ones that are coming up and they're gonna get the stage set up, and they're gonna run the, from what I've gathered is they're gonna take care of the, because mostly like the guitars, and that is all from the production company, so that's their equipment.
What about the tickets?
Or sales for.
All tickets shall be printed by a bonded ticket house.
We're not doing the tickets through them. There's some of the parts of the contract that, I don't know if this is like a big generic one that they put out, the production does, but tickets, we're not selling tickets in advance, they're just at the gate. So they can get-
So the agreement was that we could do a gate fee versus tickets.
Stagehands,
That's part of production.
that's part of production. Stage requirements.
Part of production. Anything to do with stage lighting,
The
equipment.
roof is provided for $8,000. You're getting stagehands, stage,
It's
the
all part-
equipment, and the roof for $8,000.
The guy that does the production is, I think he is out of T, and he's the one that does Rib Fest and does Sioux Empire Fair.
They're doing the sound, they're doing monitors, stage lighting.
I contacted him the other day just to see what we need for power. From what he's been putting together, we're good for power down there and everything else, so I just gotta work some details, I'll see how we go.
Accommodations, or they flying, or they staying on the bus?
I have no idea. Well, they got room and board on there, and that's already taken care of.
The room is taken care of.
The one night stay or whatever.
Purchaser shall provide 9 hotel rooms. That's taken care of.
I know there's a lot of stuff.
9 hotel rooms. Smoke machine production.
This is all new to us too, that's why we got new people on the committee.
Well, and that's why I got some, problem with it, because literally, I just seen this contract at 7:15, and it took me all of about 5 minutes, if that, to get to the Restless Heart production rider. And there's a lot of scary stuff in that rider.
Truthfully, I haven't read
So when you
this.
see the front and it says, what, 6,500 for the band, 8,000 for the band?
It's 13,000 for the band, 65, 30 days prior to, and 65.
Yeah, but, you know, and then you get to the rider and it's just a whole lot of scary stuff in there, a whole lot of expensive stuff. And that is why, that's why I wish it would have been brought to the city council prior. Prior to the end of the sign.
I mean, it sounds like there's issues with how this happened, right? I mean,
Yep, this year we've changed a few things. I mean, it's been different this year for us compared to previous years, so we've got a few hiccups and a few roadbumps, but
You had mentioned earlier, Leah, that you're pretty confident that you'll be able to make up all of this and not have to advance off, I mean, you might have to advance off those funds for a few days, but make them up by the time money comes in after the event. There's really, I mean, I think what we're looking at, there's not a plan B though, is that right? I mean, this has gotta work, or there's really not a plan B? Right, right, okay. And I'm sure that's an uncomfortable spot for all of you to be in as well.
just a little.
Yep.
The Jamboree Committee's not a 501.
We're under,
Not
they
there,
have to
just
go
a
through the
meeting.
chamber.
It's a committee. Yeah, so, they're under the chamber.
So they're part of the 501c chamber.
Yeah, we're a committee of.
That's why
so
we
we're the
filter the
Jamboree
funds
committee,
through the
committee
chamber.
of the chamber.
And the chamber was here when a couple of meetings ago, we had this discussion with them that we would come to you guys instead of getting them involved, coming to you guys, so.
Because my other concern is setting precedent for contracts being signed that don't have the funds to cover. Because you got the sports complex, swimming pool, biking rack, you got the senior center. I mean, it's a different scenario, because if the senior center came in and said, hey, we signed a contract, you know, we can't cover it, and we only need $10,000, you know, that kind of turns the city into payday loan center. But being as how this is a touchy-feely, good time weekend party, it's kind of got a different feel to it. But the end result's the same.
Teresa, as far, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and if you should make the $10,000 back, then where does that leave you for next year? Does that leave you with a balance of whatever you got left? I mean, $1,000, $2,000 that came
We'll
in
have a
extra?
very small reserve,
But you'll have what we budgeted for you to begin with, okay. And there's not a reason for you to be sitting on a huge reserve anyways, but.
I feel pretty comfortable that night we can pay it, just we can pay in 5s, 10s.
We'll go cash it in
So,
and pay for it.
That's the issue that we don't have the money in our account to write a check out that night and have them cashed on Monday, because we're not gonna have this all taken care of. You know, we still might have some people that committed that we haven't collected from, we're gonna try to get them all here within the next week or so.
Especially one of the gate fees until
That
after
night,
that
yeah,
day.
we'll try to get those security put away somewhere.
And we do get a percentage as well, any type of like merchandise that they sell, we get kickback from that as well. And we don't get that until after that night as well.
I didn't see that. Is that in this contract?
Yeah, they show, is that where it charges 75%? They take 75, we get 25% of whatever they sell for. Yeah, I see that.
I think it's safe to say, had you brought this contract in before it was signed and said, hey, here's what we wanna do, what do you think? There would have been just as much hesitation than there is there.
Right.
Probably be saying, I don't know, that's pretty steep, right? Do you feel like in your committee, the feeling is the same way, that had
Include that numerous people starting to.
Yeah, I would say it's a 50-50 split.
50-50 split?
Some of them were hesitant than others, some of them were gung-ho than others. Some were bigger risk takers than others. Me, I had to work in an IT box, so I understood all the computer stuff we talked.
Yeah.
So,
Teresa, this would probably, if approved tonight, come out of general fund. Okay?
What are you planning on charging?
it's $5 a gate. And we're not trying to be ridiculously high, because in the past, obviously the street dances have always been full, or free. We've had a couple committee members that we understand that we have to try to recoup something.
Right.
There are some events, if you go out and look at their page, they charge
$30
30 in advance and 40 at the gate. Obviously, we don't want to do something like that for a street dance. We still want to make it reasonably for our, typically the majority of the things in our Jamboree Days has been free unless you walk up to a vendor, you buy merchandise, you take it home with you. So we're trying to keep this still a community event and still something that doesn't cost us.
How much security are you looking for?
We've got some deputies lined up. One of the things that we're looking at is, there's a group, a security group that is retired veterans, biker veterans, whatever. They do some stuff back to communities to just have their name out there. We're addressing them right now and seeing what they would be able to.
And they work other types
So we're
of,
trying to, yeah, the security, we're really working on hard.
Well, this is my concern. I'll just tell you what I heard on the street. I heard Justin signed the contract, didn't have permission.
that's a false statement. He signed the contract, but he had a motion to go ahead with it. He just didn't understand, and like I said, this is some of the
Some of the
road
new
bumps.
stuff.
Because in the past, for contracts, we've really never had the restrictions. You can probably, you being on the committee in the past, I mean, we had,
The
go ahead,
rider,
motion, go ahead, go forward with it, you went forward with it, you contacted them, you booked it, you took care of it.
So if you were in charge of that event or that part of it, once his motion was passed, the second one had passed, that person would just run with it and go,
Yep.
whether it meant, book something or not. That's the way it's always been prior to this year. So this
So
year,
we got the green light to sign the contract, but it never entered in whether he had enough money to pay for the contract. It was signed.
It was discussed, and it was discussed on sponsorships. So, and the additional funding that we were looking at, as far as having money directly out of a pocket, you're right, that didn't.
And another thing that I've heard concern about, and I've heard this band could bring in 2,000 or 2,500 people.
Could,
That's what I've heard. And I'll tell you what, 2,000 to 2,500 people on Main Street, there's some property owners that have some concern if we're looking at 2 deputies
you know,
or 3 deputies.
we'll be working on the security if we have to even hire an outside security firm or something like that.
But you know what I'm saying, so now we're talking,
Yep.
we don't have the security figured out, but the contract's signed.
I tell you what, Don, the committee members, we're a little nervous about this too, but we decided to take this plunge and go ahead with it. So, I mean, make a decision like this here, to try to get more people in town,
So
but.
I guess what I'm getting about it a roundabout way is if we make a motion to give you $9,500, do we need to make a motion to give you more money for security? If the volunteer bikers won't do it?
I think we've got.
Because
some budget
I don't-
that we've got.
I'm not gonna be satisfied with 3 deputies to try to control 2,200 people.
They need 2,000 just to pay us back. And $5
if
a
it's just
ticket.
gate,
If it's just gate,
yeah, but it's not.
that gate's incredibly low,
Yep,
given
you're
the
right.
selling.
Yeah, no kidding, that's what I thought.
But trust us, we pulled teeth to get it at 5.
Last time I checked, I gotta pay to ride the
Carnival.
carnival stuff, that's not free. Anyway.
When do you need this again by,
We have to send 6,500 by Thursday. We've got that. Because like I said, we've already gotten funding for 50, so the 6,500 is not.
You want us to make the motion on condition that you raise the gate fee?
You want to come to our meeting and tell people that?
I
It's a committee,
I can
you're
come
welcome
tell.
to come join us.
The word I've heard on the street is that this council isn't gonna support this committee and this activity. And I don't know if that's true. That's something I heard. Security aside, let's say we approve the $9,500 and you come up short, what's the plan for next year if this council decides not to give you any funding because you're already in the rear?
guess we don't have any money to work with, the event will.
Then the event will be done.
I don't think that'll happen.
No, I just, that's a very real.
No, but I think it's
Or it's totally,
We have been
supported
told by,
donations
we have been told by
next year.
Justin, and this is something he's made a comment out into our committee. It's been a motion that he's made, it's a motion he's agreed to, he's going to sign a contract with it. If we come up 2,000 short, the additional 2,000 will come out of Justin's pocket. So as far as us being fully out short to pay you back your 9,500, it won't happen. Justin's already committed himself.
Can I take a pause? Dave, can you come up to the podium, please? As a proud resident of Main Street, I want you to envision 2,200 people on Main Street that night. How many,
At what time?
I don't know, between 9 and 1?
9 and 1 is not bad.
What do you think we're looking at for security, being how you own a piece of property?
Well, just so the council knows, we caught people having sex in our backyard, we caught people with no clothes on in our backyard, I got cameras up now, and I'm tired of it. People having sex in my boat.
Wow, where does?
During this event?
Yeah, during jamborees, yes. Got some other witnesses here that know of it. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to the street dance, but what concerns me would be, last year was all the cigarette butts in the plants. People sitting on the fence. Okay, they're sitting on my fence and they fall over, they're coming after me. You know, people get drunk, they get stupid, they lose their, and if they're out to have a good time, and I get that. You know, whether, you know, if we can secure the property there, I mean, just the landscaping alone, if I hired that out fully, be about $100,000. And I'm over 2/3 of the way done down there. I don't need that torn up. You know, we get garbage, and I pick up the garbage back there, and they run over the landscaping, they keep resetting stones. You know, the stones are still 2 feet off the property line. You know, so what happens when you're drunk? Come flying through there. You know, the police, they do what they can, but they don't want to incite a riot either. You know, one guy, and there's 5 buddies, I mean, he's got a backup, but you know what? You see what goes on TV. Yeah, thank God we live out here. But if this was New York City, they're gonna stand down. So, you know, if fences go up around the property, says, what if it draws, say, 5,000? It's a good band. And those are the things that, you know, you gotta think about.
If there's 5,000 people there, Dave, we got a problem.
We got a serious problem.
But that's what I'm asking you. I mean, because you live there. You're gonna have a front row seat. I mean, you think
We're
4's
about
enough? You think
4.
6 enough? You think 8's enough?
12,
12?
minimum 12.
Minimum 12.
Because when a couple of the officers get called off over to here, then something else breaks off on the right. But this is going on over here. And people are pissing everywhere. You know, and I'm just not gonna tolerate it. My wife's gonna OC. We got a few others that are gonna OC, open carry. You know? And like I said, I'm not opposed, it's just, you know, where does the city wanna go with a bigger band? Maybe downtown, but then you're gonna have the same, or down in the park, but then you're gonna have the same problem with people walking through the yards there. It's, you know, so how do you control it? That's a good question. But I just don't mind my windows getting smashed out or my stuff getting ruined, my plants being destroyed. Because we're gonna be running commercials here in fall for the vineyard, or not the vineyard, but the courtyard, for weddings and everything else. You know, the ivies are coming up. So, I mean, you know, I invested in the downtown like I said I was going to. I'm not done. Yeah, I had some bumps in the road. I mean, burying a kid, you know. That was tough, but I didn't quit. You know, yeah, it wasn't in the time frame that I even hoped for. But you know what? I kind of got a little tired of it too, and I decided to buy me a toy. And so I did. So, you know, I'm not enjoying that, you know, so here tonight, but, you know, I'm busy. So, I mean, whatever the city council decides, and just the security would be greatly appreciated. You know, and like, every time they've been there, we've had lemonade and water for the police officers, and we let them know, so. It's just another thing when we're standing there, hey, if you need anything, let us know. So,
If this draws 2,000 people, that's 166 people per peacekeeper if there's 12 peacekeepers.
We've had crowds about 600 in the past, and we've only had 2 regular deputies, we've had a couple of reserves.
I understand that we've had smaller bands than 600 people. But now we got the band that's saying the bluest eyes in Texas, and the Denny sold out. And I'm all in favor of that, but I have security concerns. And I'm telling you, two or three people ain't gonna cut it.
No.
Because if it goes bad in a hurry,
Yeah, no, we've, like I said, we're addressing the security right now, trying to get that locked in.
Let's put it in perspective, like Chester, what do they draw, and how many deputies do they have? You have no idea? Some of those kind of numbers, those statistics would be a little bit comforting for us as a council. Because, you know, this isn't, we don't have to reinvent the wheel and run all kinds of math calculations and think, you know, apocalyptic thoughts here.
But it also depends on the type of band Chester has, it depends on us. I mean, there's years we've had not so great street dance bands, and you draw in, like, yeah, not even 200 people, and then you've got others, like the last couple of years where we've had 600-700 people, because you had a little bit more locally known bands.
Yeah, I'm
We
wondering.
also had bands that would come back at 3 o'clock in the morning and started to play on Main Street, so.
I think part of it is though, you know, if you get, and what this will attract is people from outside, which does exactly what you are looking to do.
Looking at,
But it
it also
also-
draws the concern.
It incites more of the concern because, you know, I might go tear up somebody else's town, but I'm not gonna tear up my town. You know, I mean, if people know me here and people know who I am, I'm not gonna do crazy things in Dave's yard because Dave knows who I am. But when you're in somebody else's town and you've had too much to drink, who knows, you know, so I think that that's part of that issue, just amplifies it a little bit more, so.
We usually have 2 deputies from the county, and they,
2 reserves.
2 for sure they're gonna have. They don't guarantee me reserves, because they kind of mix that program a little bit. So we have 2 deputies coming. I've asked him if they can provide more. Walsh said he can guarantee us 1 more for sure, but it's just a volunteer sign up, so, you know, we don't know how many more he can get out here as far as security for the event.
I wonder if they don't have any
So you're gonna have to have
stats.
some kind of security, yeah.
I wonder if the sheriff doesn't have, the department doesn't have any stats on for as much crowd, how many officers you should have or something along those lines. Maybe we can check with them before we decide. I mean, we're not experts on the matter.
does the production company have access to licensed, insured, bonded security personnel?
We can ask.
Well, I mean, at Ribfest, they certainly got more than 4.
Might be a good person to ask, yeah.
Like I said, we're meeting again on Monday, and
Yeah.
we'll meet every Monday, I'll just try to get it together. And that's one of the things that before we left, is we need to start getting security. So by Monday, we want to have some options, what we have for security.
We
When's
want
the-
security completely,
When's the balance of the money due?
the final balance,
So that would-
it's, I believe, 24 hours in advance of the event. I believe so.
We got another council meeting.
I'm gonna make a motion that we table this until the next city council meeting. That's enough time, right?
June 6th.
I mean, we're still,
Payment this Thursday, right?
we're comfortable enough that we'll have funding for it, you know, but, so we're gonna have to keep moving ahead. I mean, we can't.
No, I know.
So, I mean, we're gonna keep working on security and keep moving ahead in the way we're going.
But you know what, let me rescind that motion.
The rest of our event is 99% done.
Done.
So really, when we say we're meeting on Monday nights, it's street dance, it's security, it's wristbands, it's who's gonna be here, who's gonna be there. I mean, it's mostly geared towards that and then doing some marketing.
I got a question. Back to this, I've been looking at this contract. So you got on on the schedule that they're playing 9 to 1, and I see on this contract that they have a set length of 75 minutes, so are they, I'm just curious if,
$173 a minute.
well, no, I'm just curious if 75 minutes is playtime, are they gonna stretch that, can they stretch that to 3 hours? That seems like kind of a big stretch, I'm just curious that, you know.
And I know Justin had said he talked to him about the time, but we can have Justin
Yeah,
just recontact.
Just curious, I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent, I'm just looking at what you had on the schedule and versus what it looks like we've contracted for.
Yeah, and I think, obviously, you're catching a flavor of all of that tonight, and I think the discussion does go over into next year to some degree, because we love throwing a big party in Hartford, we want to have it great. But what the council's not comfortable with is that is surprises, and we already spent a lot. So it's, I'm sure you're feeling this already, but, you can bring it back to the committee, is that spending everything that's in savings and everything that's been budgeted for, and worrying that, crap, we're gonna come short. That's a big part. That's a huge part, and I think that it raises some ears to say, okay, what are we gonna do next year? We don't want to completely fall backwards. I think the council would have liked to have seen something half a step bigger than that, bigger than what we had, not 5 steps bigger than what we had.
So this is either gonna happen or you guys are gonna default.
What?
The band's gonna come and play, or you guys are gonna default on the payment or on the contract, and they're not gonna come and play. One or the other, correct?
They're either gonna be here and they're gonna play, or we'll have to back out, and, then we won't have band. And we'll probably still have to pay them, at least the $13,000 for the band.
I'm gonna make a motion. I'm gonna make a motion that we allocate $9,500 to the chamber.
I'll second.
And my theory is, that the band's either gonna play because the city covered it. The band's gonna play because they scrounged up enough money to get the band here, or they're gonna default. And I don't wanna see them default. And I'm not so sure, I'm not convinced that you're gonna be able to come up with that money. So you don't default. Right now, my major concern is not the $10,000, my major concern is security.
And we'll,
It's on Craig and I's radar as well. Trust
I don't
us.
know, but it's not on you guys, your guys' radar like it is on ours.
Right, well, it is, because it's the Jamboree days, it's their reputation, it could.
That's true,
either
but-
sink us or make us go.
But if the 6 of us decide that 4 people's enough and it's horribly not enough,
6 people is
that's not on the Jamboree committee, that's on us.
Right. And I would say that 6 is not enough, and we know that.
Well, and I just assume you guys not spend all your time trying to find $10,000. I just assume you guys try to find 12 to 16 professional security people in addition to 3 or 4 deputies. That's what I'd like to see. Because then if it is 2,000 people, at least Dave knows that we tried to keep his property from getting vandalism.
and we will be fencing off at the curb line instead of using the buildings for blocks.
But you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want that committee to spend a lot of time trying to find $50 when you need to be finding a security outfit that's bonded, secured, you know, in that, so. Cause I'm not real sure, I mean, nothing against volunteer vets that ride Harleys, but I don't know if I want them bouncing people on Main Street either, just because the price was right, and they wanna get their name out there.
And you can have them in addition to the bonded ones, and we know that.
I think I would also, I would bring it back and talk over ticket price for two reasons. One, for a revenue generator, but the other part of it is that that's part of your security as well, is it's gonna keep some of the riff-raff out, which, you know, anybody can get in for $5, anybody can get thrown out for $5. I didn't pay much to be here, I can start at $5, I don't care. I paid $10 or $15,
But does it bring them, there was kind of a conversation with this, and bring them into town to stay outside of the gate. You have more control of the people inside the gate than you do outside the gate.
It's worth thinking about, but
They can't drink outside.
Sure they can.
They can.
Drink alcohol on the city streets, they're
That was our first one that passed.
I don't
And
think
it
I
also
would.
allows people to be on Main Street.
If the difference was between $10 and $5, I don't know that it would, if I'm going, I'm going,
Where,
but.
but if you put the gate on the edge of where the street is blocked off,
We're doing a fence around all of it.
but I don't know how many people you're gonna, I mean, if you got people loitering on a city street that's not shut down, the deputies can escort them away. Or, you know, vehicles moving 20 mile an hour can escort them away. I don't know, this is,
Can we got a motion and a second for the funds. I would also like to see, circle back at the next council meeting, maybe another update at that point, so that we can have an idea of how things are looking right before.
I got an idea on how to address the cigarette box, the sections in the boats, all this other stuff, and that's to put it out, move it out to the sports complex. We got some land up there north of town, we're gonna have to put it on the ball field, but just an idea.
you're gonna power up
Get some
there.
power.
Power, get some power out there.
I know where you get a generator.
Do you know,
Big
big
one.
enough, a big one?
Big one, duals.
That's
That's
a
a
good
good
idea.
He knows a guy, friend of a friend.
The only other thing with the motion is I'd like to see is that once we pay, because we'll be paying the chamber back, I'd like to see the city get reimbursed back from the chamber.
You really think there's gonna be a motion? You think we're gonna have a hard time getting paid back?
Well, I guess that's your chat, because you're allocating the money to them, it doesn't say nothing in there that they have to give it back. So,
I'd like to
Can't
think
be
we're
very
operating
big
on a more friendly
committee.
basis.
can we pay directly to the city?
We can accept any kind of money,
Okay.
we just can't pay out.
So then
We
we
just
have-
have to pay the
Okay.
chamber.
You yourself can donate to the
We'll
city.
just pay- yep, we'll
This
pay-
is a new
I got
friendly.
a gut feeling last
Right?
I might leave that alone, see how it plays out. All right, we got a motion and a second, let's keep things moving along. Do we have any more discussion pertaining to the funds? Okay. Call the vote. Nelson?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
And Monahan.
We'll be back next meeting to get an update report for that, so.
Thank you.
Once again,
As long as I don't throw myself in front of
next
the bus.
meeting, June 6th is okay, right? Or you would probably like that as soon as possible,
For what?
the $9,500.
I would say as long as it's June sixth, you're fine, because you're still,
Okay,
what, 10
just want to
days
make
before
sure
the
that
event.
it misses deadline.
We'll be okay for that.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for stepping up and coming, Dave.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I didn't get a chance to go watch it.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
See ya.
All right, next on the agenda is, oh, it's your birthday. Oh, okay. There you go.
I didn't bring that up.
That's gonna bring a lot of people to town too.
Tons.
All right, next on the agenda is appointments. We have appointments for our official newspaper, our official healthcare facility, and our official depositories. So I believe I have to make these appointments separate and have them approved by the council separate, is that correct?
Yeah, that'd be the best way.
Okay. Okay, for official newspaper, I would like to make the appointment of making it the Minnehaha Messenger.
Make a motion to, make the official newspaper Minnehaha Messenger.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. For our official healthcare provider, I appoint Sanford Clinic in Hartford.
Move. And we'll make a motion to approve Sanford, appoint Sanford Clinic as the official healthcare provider.
Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none. Call the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And for our official depositories, the same depositories as we've had in years past, one with a name change, but those would be Great Western Bank, Relia Bank, US Bank, and First National Bank in Sioux Falls.
And we have funds in all these banks, whether they be CDs or whatnot.
Make a motion, correct me on Jeremy, to approve First National Bank, US Bank, Great Western Bank, and Reliant Bank as official depositories of the city of Hartford.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Good deal. All right, and next up on the agenda is to review and approve the city and chamber agreement. Much like the HADC agreement that we approved last time.
It's exactly the same, it mimics, you know, the agreement with the HABC is just with the chamber. Basically, last time just secures, you know, the chamber and EED position within those organizations.
I make a motion to approve the Hartford Area Chamber Agreement as written.
Second.
Now this, I wasn't here, so we did the HADC one last time.
Yes.
We did not because the chamber just had their meeting, correct?
Right, and
Okay.
their board hadn't had a chance to review it and approve it since that time though, they didn't know.
I remember catching the notes on that, I just wanted to make sure it was certain.
All right, any discussion on that? Not, call the vote. Nelson,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Keel,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
and Ryan.
Yeah.
And under correspondence, we have, you've had in your packet, Secretary's Award for Drinking Water Excellence. Teresa, you had it in your piece there, what is this, how many years in a row? 12th year in a row?
So,
Congratulations.
yeah.
Nice job.
Great.
Good job.
Great, Jesse,
Way to
those
go.
are all certified and now got the award, so.
Nice job.
That's really good. Sounds, you got that on there. Anything else for correspondence? Thank yous, thoughts, notes, anything for any of the other groups out there that you're thinking of?
Is this the first time that Neil and Jesse would be mentioned in this? This,
It'd be for, Jesse Mills had it before, right? Wasn't he certified
Maybe
last year? I think
I'm
Neil
just
was
curious since
last.
they were just got licensed or.
Yeah.
So,
I think Neil may have had his license last year already and now
Okay.
Jesse has it this year, so.
just out of curiosity.
No? Great. I would like to see, if we're thinking of thank yous, if anybody's got anything else, go ahead and put it out there, but I would like to see us, put a thank you together for Superintendent Dr. Danielson, and, just for all of the time he's served in the community as our superintendent,
Good job.
and, wish him well in his future endeavors.
I agree with that.
Unless you got anything else, I'll run with that. Good. Visitors, anybody else that wishes to talk or be recognized? Okay, if not, do we have anything we need to move into executive session for?
Anything?
Okay. Look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.